It seems like you can make almost anything with a 3D printer, but these Eastern Washington engineering students didn't want to make just anything.
You're creating something for 15, 20 bucks that could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it became something that I think this is important to do.
As you close your elbow, the fingers will grasp.
He's talking about a prosthetic limb. They can be expensive, especially when it comes to children who quickly grow out of them.
So we have to remember that these kids are whole in and of themselves without another appendage. But the world that we're in is built on people who have two hands.
The department landed an $8,000 grant from Multicare. They bought a large 3D printer and materials. Next, they reached out to area school districts to find students who might want or need a new prosthetic. Ryan Merkle responded.
I got into it because out of pure curiosity. Like, I've never had a proper prosthetic since kindergarten, so I just came in with an open mind, neutral mindset, and just see how this turns out.
Merkle was born without his left arm below the elbow, but that hasn't stopped the Rogers High School senior from living a full life.
I play a lot of PC games. I use mouse and keyboard. I know how to eat. I know how to do a lot of things that most normal people can do with two arms.
Still, he didn't want to pass up the opportunity to try a new prosthetic for free.
It is a cool and fun experience to be a part of this process.
And the process didn't come without a few snags for these budding engineers.
I've never done anything like that before, so finding the ins and outs and researching prosthetics and the intricacies of it.
This is the finished product. Merkle admits it's taken some time to get used to.
I've done things for so long with my other arm, the single most useful arm that I have, and half an arm, that's, I'm trying to figure out what can I possibly do with it.
There is still funding left to create more prosthetics. At this point, they are only printing arms and hands, but the possibilities are truly endless.
I feel that this project is kind of like shows what the future might be like, where prosthetics are easily accessible to everyone.
In Spokane, Alexa Block, KREM 2 News.